Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Welcome indeed once again to the fastest paced soccer show in SoCal. This is Soccer in 60, brought to you by SAC Health System, covering all the week's news, highlights, and more from LAFC, the Galaxy, Angel City, Orange County Soccer Club, and of course the Major Arena Soccer League's very own Empire Strykers. Hello and welcome. I'm J.R. Liebert, affectionately known as The Scarf. Thanks so much for joining me on another episode. It's an absolutely jam-packed one. Please subscribe to the podcast on all your platforms. Make sure you subscribe to Soccer in 60 on YouTube. And I am joined tonight by a perfect pair of pontificating pundits. First, a long-time regular here on Soccer in 60 and an OCSC super supporter himself, my good buddy Timmy K. Tim Kolatz. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
I couldn't be better today, Scarf Man. It's a blazing hot day here in sunny SoCal, and it's fantastic to be with you once again.
Good to have you back, my friend. And of course, on the other side of the screen, my co-host on Defenders of the Bank and the play-by-play voice of the MASL's Empire Strykers, Christian Philly Philemon.
What's up, fellas? Happy Oktoberfest. Yes, it started on the 20th, runs till October 5th, and I'm just as excited to be here as Prince Ludwig was to marry Princess Teresa back on October the 10th in 1810. And unlike some defenses this weekend, I promise not to fall asleep.
I love it. We've got a fantastic interview later in the show with Mathieu Choinière, the Canadian men's national team player and two-time MLS All-Star, member of LAFC. But for now, let's take a look over at our friends at OmniTrans in partnership with the Empire Strykers. Experience the thrill of game day with OmniTrans. Be in the heart of the action at Toyota Arena and let OmniTrans take care of the ride. Simply download the Transit app to catch your bus and enjoy a stress-free trip to cheer on the Strykers. Don't miss out on the excitement and make every moment count at Toyota Arena. Ride with OmniTrans to your next Empire Strykers game. We have a new member that'll be joining us in the Soccer in 60 family. Let's welcome co-host with Soccer in 60 regular Rob Halon on the Lacuna Galaxiana podcast, Ananda Kirana. Ananda, welcome to Soccer in 60, my friend.
Hola and buenas, amiguitos. ¿Qué tal? How are you guys doing?
Excellent, excellent. Great to have you on. It's a fearsome foursome now on the screen. And let's talk all things Galaxy first and foremost. Unfortunately, a 3-2 home loss to a very good FC Cincinnati team. Galaxy down 2-0 after just 22 minutes, but maybe a case of some bad luck. Gabriel Peck hitting the post early. Mitrovic getting a hand to both the Evander goal and that second Brenner goal. Let me ask you first, Ananda, was it a case of Galaxy really being outplayed for 90 minutes in this 3-2 loss, or can you chalk up some of it to the soccer gods just kind of leaning FC Cincinnati's way a little bit?
I mean, if you look at the stats, guys, it was actually a close game on paper, but I think in the end, it was the vital moments that killed the Galaxy, both offensively and defensively. So if you look at the stats, very even on shots on target, I believe was 10-8. But you look at I call it the cleanliness of the shots or the effectiveness of the shots. You look at that XG number, they out XG'd us, if that's a verb or not. 2.6 to 1.4, I believe. So it's pretty clear that by that stat alone, they had the better of the chances. They had the cleaner looks. And the Galaxy, and this is something that's been just sort of an Achilles heel for the Galaxy all season, without the services of Ricky Puig unpicking the lock there at the number 10. And I would say a lack of individual progression or performance from our two DP wingers. The Galaxy have really struggled getting clean looks on goal this season. And of course, without a focal point number 9, like Dejan Joveljic last year, that has contributed to that massively as well. So I think overall in the balance of play, Scarf, I think we were just outplayed in the key moments of the game. And that was really the difference for me.
Yeah, Ananda, I want to ask you about one other thing that we were actually talking about pre-show. You had mentioned these last several matches, a chance for the Galaxy to take a look at guys who may or may not be ready for their moment next year. Look, whether that's more playing time next season, a starting spot, or just a roster spot in general. One of the things that really stood out in this match was the play or lack thereof of Isaiah Parente picking up that second and rather foolish yellow card to unfortunately have the Galaxy play down a man for the last 40 minutes or so. What are your thoughts on his readiness, like you were talking about, to maybe take that next step and see more action next year?
Yeah, one of the things I talked about on our pod this week, Lacuna Galaxiana, was it's interesting that we're going to have the same conversation about a lot of guys on this roster that are on the fringes, especially the younger guys that are trying to break in. And the question that Will Kuntz in the front office is asking themselves right now is, can we get a bargain to maybe break into the starting 11 or at least fill out the 16th or 17th or 18th spot on that roster? I heard Rob talk to you guys about this last show, which is you need, like, to win MLS Cup, you need a roster deep enough, maybe 16, 17 guys, right? Because you never know, you might have to call upon a Gaston Brugman in an MLS Cup final to pull off an insane performance to help you win a chip, right? So if I look at Isaiah Parente, I think it's an NA for me because he just simply hasn't got enough playing time, Scarf. Like, I know what type of player he is, and he's not young. He's 25 years old. He's probably going into the prime of his career. And from what I know now, I mean, this is just a focus group of one, as they like to say. Like, I don't think he's ready to break in. I think he's had enough chances, and you see it in this game, just a little bit of a lack of discipline. I don't know what he is. Is he a 6? Is he an 8? Is he physical enough to play lone 6 like Edwin Cerillo or in a double pivot? Is he ball progressive enough with the carry or with the pass? Does he make good enough decisions to be an 8 like a Mark Delgado? Right now, the answer is no, and it's probably an NA because he just hasn't gotten the playing time.
Yeah, it's tough to see, especially when you're getting a red and you're not able to see out the last 40 minutes. Tim, let me ask you, let's talk about a big veteran here. We got Diego Fagundes, who, I mean, he's been playing soccer in MLS since he was 15. Another assist in this one on a beautiful pass to Joseph Paintsel for Galaxy's first goal. He's knocking on the door of the 80-80 club in Major League Soccer. And one thing I want to point out too, Tim, as we talk about Fagundes, last year with Ricky Puig, 4 goals and 2 assists. This year, without Ricky Puig, has been able to put up those same numbers. Tim, what does it mean to have a veteran presence like that of Diego Fagundes? Here we are towards the end of the season. His legs are probably tired, and yet he's still putting that ball in a perfect spot for that goal to Joseph Paintsel.
I think it means a lot for, as Ananda spoke about, the future of the club. Right, you've got guys like Carver Miller, Parente, these guys that are coming in trying to get playing time. But to see a Diego Fagundes come in and be a solid player the entire year, and again, the stats, same as last year, even with Puig in the lineup, I think you have to have guys like that stay in there and teaching some of these younger kids that, hey, this is what we have to do. I don't care that I've got 10 years on you, 15 years on you. You've got to get out and you got to get up every day, have your coffee, and get out on the pitch and run your tail off.
Yeah, and Ananda, I want to get your take on this. First, got to ask Philly. Philly, looking at the highlights, looking at the way that Mitrovic, their keeper, has played, what it looks like that has happened, Philly, is that he has really settled into that starting role. I mean, he had several big saves. He got a hand on 2 of the goals. It was something that you and I, Philly, had talked about quite a bit with John McCarthy and JT Marcinkowski and all the goalies that they had on that roster. It really looks like Mitrovic has taken control, not just because he knows he has the spot, but he's playing at a level that's much higher than he was earlier in the season.
I mean, you brought up the point, Marcinkowski and John McCarthy. John McCarthy no longer part of the equation. And look, Marcinkowski on other teams for most part could probably start. No question about it. But the level of one's ability rises when they're designated such responsibility. And without him having to look over his shoulder and constantly battle in training, he's going to step up. The guy's clearly good. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been brought onto the Galaxy squad. And yes, he's had some games where he's made a tremendous amount of saves, really keeping the games closer in matches that could have been far more lopsided, not in favor of the Galaxy. But yeah, he's proven his worth. I would argue to say he's been one of the better keepers the Galaxy have had, probably going back to the Dave Bingham era. Geez, that was a while ago. Now I think about it. But either way, he's solidified himself within that starting lineup. And if there's anything I think that we could all agree upon, I think they're pretty set for next season in between the sticks if they keep Mitrovic. Obviously, if there's another more talented goalkeeper that comes to fruition and becomes available, different story. But you can't really tinker with that spot. You have to have somebody there settled, somebody who's been through the war. And look, I said it on the previous shows. I think we're all going to be sitting with egg on our face with the way we made fun of the Galaxy's performance this season. I think they're going to be excellent next year, and it's really going to start with him being dominant in between the pipes.
Yeah, before we talk about that, though, they've got to close out their performance for this year. And Ananda, 2 matches coming up this week, a throwaway match, if you will, against Sporting Kansas City at home. Marco Royce bobblehead night, so maybe not a throwaway night for 5,000 people. But let me ask you about their second match coming up this week, Campeones Cup. I don't want to call it a final because it's the only match, right? Campeones Cup. Galaxy versus Toluca, Wednesday, October 1st at Dignity Health Sports Park. What does the Campeones Cup mean to Galaxy? I'll say in general and because of this season. What does this match mean for Galaxy?
Well, I'm going to say it straight from the horse's mouth, which is I'm going to take a little bit of an excerpt from Joseph Paintsill post-match, the last game, and he was asked this question, Scarf, and the players' mentality is right now they need to do it for pride. They also need to do it for the fans there's something to be proud of. There's not a lot of things right now to be proud of for the LA Galaxy, both on and off the pitch, by the way. I think one of the big themes that has come out the last couple of months is there is a lack of trust between the Galaxy organization and the fans at the moment. It's in a really sort of tense situation. I can tell you season ticket renewals came and went, and they did not go well, anecdotally. So I think this Campeones Cup, this win would just it would be something for the fans to be proud of. And that's more than I think we can ask for at this point. And I think the players are all in that mindset right now, and also for their personal pride.
Yeah, I think what you're alluding to, by the way, that last match against FC Cincinnati, Mexican Heritage Night, amidst the backdrop of that lack of a response from AEG and really from the club in general about all of the proceedings with ICE, both being at the stadium and the effects on Los Angeles and everything else. Just 18,500 tickets sold for this last match. And like you said, it looked like attendance is dropping. So it's a rough time for sure at Dignity Health Sports Park. Philly, you're pointing at something up there behind you.
I just want to make sure that, I cleaned the ear canals well. Did you say they were only giving 5,000 bobbleheads on Marco Royce night?
That is what I believe.
You want to talk about a lack of trust between supporters and the front office? 5,000 bobbleheads? Oh, you better call security, because that's another dropped scenario, if you ask me. Why? 5,000? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Look, we're going to keep Ananda on to talk a little LAFC now. Don't forget, we've got the interview with Mathieu Choinière coming up a little bit later in the episode. But let's talk LAFC, and this is not a repeat. This is not, if you don't adjust your sets, it was another 4-1 win against Real Salt Lake again. Another player scoring a hat trick again. And just some magical moments on what was Noche de Carlos Vela, where they honored Carlos Vela, inducting him into the Ring of Honor, which was the first inductee into LAFC's Ring of Honor there at BMO Stadium. Let me ask first, Philly, it was an incredible night at BMO Stadium. Obviously, the history with Denis Bouanga and the hat tricks and everything else. But what did it mean to have Carlos Vela in attendance once again and to put his name up in the Ring of Honor?
Closure. Closure. I mean, it's something that we've been waiting on for quite some time. Carlos signed on late last season. Obviously, he didn't get to play within the playoffs. PR kept a lot of things under wraps. The rumor mill stated that he got hurt in practice, couldn't carry on. We didn't know any better. There was no part of our history post that would go up for all players departing LAFC. We finally have some closure on things, and they did it in the classiest of ways possible. Didn't think there would be a plaque, but that plaque now just beneath the press box and the championship banners, a classy way to honor the man who really is the most integral piece of all for LAFC, considering the gamble that he took, leaving a career where he was thriving in Europe, coming to Los Angeles to a team that had no history, no nothing, hell, not even a stadium. It was a classy environment. The Tifos was there. I think LAFC's level of play also picked up, not wanting to lose after taking a 1-goal deficit off of a cracker of a goal. Classy, and now we finally have that peace of mind, that finale, that closure that we were looking for. And the bank was electrifying. It had a playoff atmosphere, despite the fact that it was another game against those sandy folks from Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, and look, it was part of a gauntlet, 4 matches in 15 days. Tim, we've talked about this a little bit with OCSC many times this season, having to kind of run a difficult gauntlet, whether it's 3 matches in a row on the road or just some difficult opponents. But Tim, LAFC now collecting all 9 points on these first 3 matches, and with a very winnable match at St. Louis, what would it mean to LAFC? 4 matches, 15 days, 12 points with 2 of those matches being on the road. That is a massive step forward for LAFC as they march toward the playoffs.
Yeah, it's gigantic. And for LAFC to be playing as well as they are with the integration of Sonny coming in so quickly, Marky Delgado playing out of his mind as he has been the entire season. Just for them, if they pull off the 12th point in 15 days, it would be monumental, because now it solidifies them into that top 4 positioning, and that's what you need. You just got to have those first set of games at home, and then you're off to the races, and anything can happen, especially in MLS, especially what we saw last year in that crazy nutty first round where everybody's losing except the Galaxy.
Yeah, and speaking of crazy nutty, it's not out of the realm of possibility. LAFC can finish as high as 2nd, I think, in the table, which would also open up a potential CONCACAF Champions Cup spot. I got to go to Ananda, though, real quick, going back to Carlos Vela for 1 second. Those Carlos Vela, Zlatan Ibrahimovic matches that we saw in 2018 and 2019, you've been a Galaxy supporter and podcaster for quite some time now. What did those feel like? And we got to be kind of quick when we talk about this, but what did those feel like in terms of what you've witnessed with Galaxy?
I mean, those are electric, man. You think about just sort of the historic matchups over the years, right, in MLS, and those are the things where the most impact is for the casuals. Like, those are the headline grabbing moments that attract casuals. So, for example, when Heung-min Son plays, and by the way, I'm saying when, not if. When Heung-min Son plays Thomas Muller in the MLS Cup playoffs, watch out. That is going to be electric. Those are the types of matchups that people crave, that casuals crave, that bring people to MLS. So it's huge, man. It can't be understated.
No, it was a big one back then. There was a villain and the hero to both sides. We have a fantastic interview with Canadian men's national team player, 2-time MLS All-Star, and midfielder for LAFC, Mathieu Choinière. Let's get to the interview right now with Mathieu.
Our guest is a midfielder with LAFC who has made a major impact since joining on loan from Switzerland's Grasshoppers. Before heading to Europe, he spent a remarkable 13 years with his hometown CF Montreal, joining the academy at age 12 and playing in 119 first-team games for the club. A 23 and 24 MLS All-Star and a member of Canada's 2024 Copa America squad, he now has high hopes for the 2026 World Cup on home soil. We are so excited to have with us LAFC's Mathieu Choinière. Mathieu, welcome to Soccer in 60.
Hey, what's up, boys? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking the time. It's great to have you with us. We're going to come right out of the gates and put you on the spot by asking you, which is more fun to be a part of these days, LAFC or the Canadian men's national team?
Both of them. For real, I've been enjoying both both of these teams. Being with the national team is always fun to wear the Canadian chest on my chest, and no, it's been amazing being with them. And since I joined LA, I had a warm welcome, like I said in previous interviews. And the group of guys, the staff, everybody, the club is going well. Also, we're winning, so the joy in the locker room is great.
Now, part of the reason that Philly asked that question, obviously, is that Canada, over the course of the past year or so, for people who don't remember, beat the U.S. twice. After a somewhat disappointing Gold Cup finish, you guys most recently won 3-0 away at Romania, 1-0 at Wales. Massive results, obviously. How close do you feel the Canada team is to rounding into early World Cup form? And what do you feel the goals should be for that tournament, if you can say it this early on?
We're still working on it. I think we have, again, still more to go. I think we can be even better when times will come at the World Cup. But yeah, we've been building this since a long time now. And the guy from everybody in the group, like, we are all in the same boat. We all know how we're gonna play. So it's kind of easy to go there and just enjoy our football, the way we play, our soccer, the way we press, the way we want to be in constant movement and to be the one that's gonna chase the ball and everything. So yeah, we're going into games without never telling us we're the underdogs. No, we're going there. Everybody that we play, we want to win that game, and with the mentality that we're the better team on the pitch. So every time it's been amazing being with this group, and I'm learning so much.
Now, speaking of Canada, we mentioned in the intro that you are a legend of sort with CF Montreal, obviously having been with the club from age 12 to 25. That's quite remarkable. What was your motivation last summer to leave your hometown club for Zurich, Switzerland? And then how did after that, how did the loan to LAFC and back to MLS come about?
When I was with Montreal, like you said, it's been a while that I was there, been 12, 13 years, a lot of season, and I was looking maybe to go out of my comfort zone. I was home, family was there, friend was there, everybody, and I said, look, it's going great, but if I want to be the best player that I can be, it's to go out of my comfort zone and maybe try something else. Also, I have a dream is to play in Europe, like I wanted to try. So I went to Grasshopper, which after that brings me here. But yeah, especially with Montreal, the time that I spent over there were amazing. Was the best time. But yeah, like I said, going from there to Switzerland was going out of my comfort zone, learning about myself, learning about what I like to do on the pitch, learning about me, and yeah, basically what I'm looking for into soccer. So, and now it brings me here where I'm very happy in LAFC, where I feel I find a club that play the style I want to play. Even outside of the pitch, what can I say? The city is beautiful, and I think my family loves it here.
Amazing. Now you've played, speaking of joining LAFC, you've played a significant role since coming over. You went the distance, if I remember this correctly now, in the 2 massive away wins at San Jose and RSL. And then you came on as a substitute in the recent, I think you can call it a thumping of RSL in that rematch at BMO. With you guys having outscored opponents now 12-4 in your last 3 games, what is clicking on the field from your perspective? What's making you guys so good beyond just the individual attacking brilliance that we're seeing?
I think if you come in the locker room right now, you see everybody smiling, everybody speaking to each other, everybody on the pitch also, like, correcting each other. Hey, look, I like to do this run. I like to connect this type of passes and everything. And everybody's listening to anyone. Of course, after that, we have these 2 guys in front that score a lot of goals for us. That when they make the run, you need to see them also. And when they speak to you, I like to do this one, and then finding that those connections that I think we're building in every training, and from the goalkeeper to the striker, everybody has the same idea of how we play. They call it here the LAFC style. So yes, everybody's on the same page. That's why I think with the newcomer also, no, it took us time because the club is make us like straight away ready for it. But now you can see that the thing are clicking, like you said, and it's getting better and better.
You've said it. The chemistry is completely different from what we noticed at the beginning of the season up to now. The smiles, it's very apparent that it's not so much all business, it's having fun. And you alluded to the fact that there are new additions, a very successful transfer window for LAFC. Obviously, you come along as well, but then you've got Sonny, who's added a huge element going forward for the team. As someone who shares the field with him every day in training as well as in competitive play, can you give us a better understanding of what makes him so good? Like for someone who maybe doesn't play soccer and doesn't know what to look for, what qualities have allowed him to go on such a tear with you guys?
I mean, where can I start? You can see it on every weekend, and yes, I can see it every day. He's just unbelievable. Right foot, left foot. You cannot touch him on the field. His positioning is so good that he feels like he always has time. He sees things before the ball arriving in his feet. It's just like I said, he's seeing things before. You always have the edge, I feel, on the play. Like he's knowing where the ball's gonna go, so he's gonna be first there. And no, it's been amazing, and having him every day. He's a funny guy too. He's laughing a lot. He's making jokes. He's bringing everybody together, and he brings a lot of competitiveness in the training. Like we're doing finishing drills, and he scored 2 goals, and he's looking at everybody. Hey, I scored 2. How many did you score? Oh, 1. I'm beating you right now, huh? And you can see that he brings this to the training, and he brings the level higher on everybody. And I'm a competitor too, and everybody's a competitor, so it brings the level higher. When somebody tells you this, you just want to beat him. So it brings my level higher, brings everybody higher, and that's what he brings to the team. And on weekends, it's easy to see what he's doing, like in the last matches. So
I'm sure you got a little bit of extra love because he did assist on your first goal for LAFC. So there's got to be just an extra little bit of love for him from that perspective. Speaking of competition, you've got an older brother whose name is David and who's also a pro soccer player. In fact, you guys spent a lot of time together at CF Montreal. Now, David plays for FC Forge in the Canadian Premier League, so he's not exactly known down Figueroa. But I wonder if you guys like text each other or call each other to talk about your recent games, or do you talk to each other to get your minds off soccer for a minute? Like, what's your relationship with David like? If you don't mind me asking, of course.
Yeah, very close. Like you said, we've been in Montreal all the time. We were living in an apartment, both of us together, when we were with the academy in Montreal. And now I'm texting every single day. Every 3 days we're calling. And he's watching all my games. I'm watching all of his games. And we're just sharing, look at this game. He called me last game. He said, wow, what a game. What an atmosphere in the stadium. And everything. And after that, he's correcting me on some plays. He said, oh, you did well on some plays. I'm doing the same with him. It's just a normal relationship with your brother that you're talking, you catch up every single time, and we're talking about family, everything.
That's awesome to hear. Now let's quickly take a look, just back to the field real quick. Let's take a look at what's coming up immediately for you guys, which is an away game at St. Louis. Of course, with your opponent this coming weekend struggling through a very difficult season, just about everyone expects you guys to tear into them and continue your attacking fireworks. Do you feel that there is a danger in that? How are you guys approaching the game mentally, and what are some keys to success at St. Louis from your perspective?
I think the keys to our success is just to focus on us, to what we've been doing great, and manage the thing that we're doing a bit less good, and we're working actually on it on this weekend training, and yeah, to put that into good things. So yeah, the main thing is focus on us. I know we're doing great. We have a lot of confidence, and it's just to go there with the same quality that we put in, the same effort that we put in the last games.
3 games ago, quite a few LAFC fans were not thrilled with recent results, and it seemed as though first place in the West in the Supporters' Shield was out of reach. But after these 3 straight wins, I think it's fair to say both are back within your grasps. Have you guys as a team talked about what your goals are for the remainder of the season? And for you personally, what would you like to accomplish at LAFC?
You don't hear it this much in the locker room or in here at the training center, but you know that there's a standard in LAFC. Like, you know that you want to be the best. You know you want to be number one, and you can feel it every time I walk into the locker room or at the training center. I know that we want to be first, but we're not saying it out loud. Hey, look, that's what we want. No, it's just the standards. So I feel like, no, we're not putting pressure on ourselves, but we know. And yeah, for myself, like you asked me, for the rest of the season, just keep helping my teammates have the most minute that I can, and keep on winning. And at the end, for sure, why not the MLS Cup and everything that we can win.
Steve Cherundolo said in an interview during a press conference that your addition, he loves it because you're plug and play and he can fit you in anywhere, and you've adapted relatively quickly. So obviously that's been very evident on the field, and the success that LAFC's had. And all the words that you shared, I appreciate it. Having covered this team and supported it since Bank of California at the time was a hole in the ground. So on behalf of myself and obviously Gunnar and everybody at Soccer and 60, Matthew, I want to say thank you so much for your time and good luck on the rest of the season. And yeah, go beat St. Louis.
Thank you, boys.
And there you heard it. Philly and Gunnar, a fantastic interview. Hopeful for the World Cup, hopeful for the rest of the season for LAFC. We're going to bid a quick goodbye to Ananda, but he will be back for Best 11. Ananda, we will see you in just a few.
See you, boys.
All righty. And let's get to our good friends over at National Core. National Core, one of the nation's largest nonprofit affordable housing developers and a proud sponsor of your MASL team, the Empire Strykers. At National Core, they believe that soccer has the power to transform lives just like they do. They believe in building strong communities on and off the field. And to learn more about National Core and their mission, head on over to nationalcore.org. Let's talk some Empire Strykers. Speaking of their sponsor, first of all, we're recording this on Wednesday. This will be broadcast on Thursday. So head coach Onua Obasi, happy birthday, as his birthday is Wednesday, September 24th. So we want to mention that, and a very happy birthday to Coach Onua Obasi. Breaking news across the Empire Strykers front, a new outfitter for the Empire. That's right, Capelli Sport. And I want to read this directly from the press release. A 3-year partnership running through 2027-2028, outfitting the entire organization, including players, coaches, and select staff. I have to start by asking, does the select staff include one Christian Philemon? Philly, are you going to get some free swag from Capelli Sport?
I've got 8 items on the way.
Nice.
Shorts, fleeces, polos, hoodies, pullovers, zippers. I said polos. You never see me wear collars unless I have a bow tie. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a good partnership, a company that's been around since the post-2000s, based out of New York City, and we see Capelli everywhere. And I think it's going to be a great move going from Admiral, which was the sponsor last year for the Strykers, to Capelli. Looking forward to seeing the gear and the merch. I like the way I feel inside some Capelli.
Yeah, and real quick, Tim, you and I never got the phone call from Philly about putting our order in, so I think we know where we stand with the Capelli Sport order, but that's
low
okay.
on my totem pole, boys. I'm just kidding.
At least he
we do know the owner. We've met him once or twice. Maybe we just go hit him up.
At least he tells us to our face, Timmy. Let's talk
Honesty
about
is the best business.
Yeah,
Yep.
look, absolutely. Let's talk about last season and go into maybe not necessarily a recap of several matches, but kind of look at it in waves a little bit. And the first 3 matches of the season last year for the Empire, maybe starting off a little slower than they would have liked. Philly, I got to ask you first about their first match of the season. It is never easy, and you know this perhaps better than anybody else who's been calling matches in MASL. It is never easy to go into Chihuahua and get a result. And of course, the schedule makers over at MASL threw Empire and head coach Onua Obasi right into the fire, a 10-3 loss at Chihuahua to start the season. What's it like playing in Chihuahua if you're an opposing team, Philly?
That place is a cauldron, and it looks so small when you're watching it on TV. And yeah, it's small when you're there, but that just means it doesn't need that many people to be a ruckus environment. It's a formidable fortress that most teams don't win in. In fact, very few, if any, throughout MASL ever have sustained any kind of success playing at Corner Sport Arena. I enjoy calling games there because the fan base is passionate. But this is the second year in a row that the Empires happen to open their season on the road. And look, the game was really over after the first quarter. The only highlight thing that we can really talk about that was cool, we saw the emergence of Munir Alami, who would be one of the top rookies of the season. We'd see Abdul Mansour start to pick things up again, and Marco Fabian, who would begin a goal-scoring streak early in the season. But, I mean, that was a terrible game. A house of horrors is Corner Sport Arena. I mean, 10-3 was that game. Brutal affair, but Chihuahua, they're the defending champions back to back to back, and they're going to make another strong case to try to four-peat in this league.
And Timmy K, we get it in the second match, and finally they get to open their season at Toyota Arena, second match of the year against my second club, my adopted club, Utica City, where my father was from. But unfortunately, Tim, a 9-6 loss, that's kind of the breaks in MASL, right? The highest level of indoor soccer in the world. You can put 6 past the opposing keeper, but still lose by 3, and that was a tough one.
Yeah, and it's hard to, you talk about it, it's a streaky league. You get Marco Fabian go on a 10, 12, 14 game goal scoring streak. You get guys you'll be down by a couple of goals, and magically 17 minutes later, you're up by 3. And that's what happened in this game. Utica just took it to them, and that's what happens in MASL. You give up 5 straight. Like I said, 17 minutes, and it's just brutal. But those are the picks of the game.
The thing I also want to add on that, Scarf, is that game we saw a completely different Utica team at the beginning of the season than we did at the end. And I mean that because of Kelvin Oliveira, the Brazilian futsal phenom, had a monster game, 3 goals and an assist. He would go on to put up some comical numbers, 42 points in 12 games played, 29 goals and 13 assists. Utica could have been very well en route to making a deep run in the postseason, but he had to break out early for personal reasons. And Utica it was a shadow of itself. I mean, this kid was going to be the MVP. 42 points in 12 games played. It was unreal.
Speaking of unreal, they finally get their first win of the season. It's at home in front of the faithful Philly at Toyota Arena. 10-5 over Tacoma, double-digit goals, and you really saw the offense of Onua Obasi hit the ground running.
Yeah, and you would see just how important the keepers would be in that offense. You'd see Brandon Gomez, goalkeeper, who would find his shot threading the netting. Brandon Gomez would go on to win TST with bumpy pitch. The keepers are a big part of Onua Obasi's system. So he stood out. Munir Alami obviously did his thing. Marco Fabian, a couple of goals. Justin Stinson would have an impact on the game. There is a nice long-standing rivalry against Tacoma. And Empire hadn't been very successful against Tacoma, but a win in front of the home crowd to kind of close out the calendar year was a big deal. And obviously for Onua Obasi to get his first win as coach, this was a big-time deal. Total team effort. It was a good game by the Strykers.
Yeah, a good game. And look, Tim, you know this real quick. Anytime that we can put up 10 at home, you're likely to get a win. Let's talk a little bit of Angel City soccer. And it has been a rough go of it late for the ladies at BMO. But this one, a solid battle, even though if you look at the stat sheet, it was rough. But Angel City, though they were dominated, outshot 10-1, unfortunately stuck with a draw, a 2-2 draw in this one. We'll talk about the 15,000 in attendance in a little bit. But Tim, I got to ask you first and foremost, we've been talking about the play of their goalkeepers now for quite some time, but Angelina Anderson coming back with an incredible performance, Tim. 8 saves on the score sheet against a very, very good club. What are your thoughts on the keeper battle that now is back underway in Angel City?
Well, we got to hand it to Coach Alex Strauss. He's got both of these keepers fighting for that spot, wanting to be that starter. Angelina Anderson had played so much. And then Hannah comes in and she fights for that spot, gets a whole bunch of starts right in a row. And now Angelina is back between the sticks and plays well. Like you said, makes 8 solid saves. A couple of them were at her feet, so a little easier. But she's made some really good saves and really backstopped that defense to a very good result. And results matter. Results. You want points, you want the win, sure, but to get a draw against one of the leading teams in the league, okay. I think the team should be quite happy with that result.
Yeah, and Philly, especially after going down just 12 minutes in, look, you pay to see stars play, and Trinity Rodman puts one in the back of the net against Angel City, much to the delight, actually, of most of the crowd there. These fans in attendance appreciate great players across the board, but it wasn't, by the way, on her first try on the PK, right? She had to redirect her own penalty in, talking more about what Tim was just saying about Angelina Anderson and her excellent game. But then able to answer right back by Evelyn Shores. Angel City, time and time again this season, we've seen them give up one right after scoring. But now this time, Philly, they come back with the answer just 2 minutes later.
The one thing I do want to highlight about Trinity Rodman is the fact that at least there's some Rodman in the family line that could score. and I'll leave it at that. Trinity can certainly...
She did get the rebound.
Yeah, with the rebound as well. Well, that I would say maybe she wouldn't be the best in the family yet, but scoring, clearly she is. Yeah, an unfortunate foul in the box by Miyabi, but Evelyn Shore scoring her first NWSL goal ever after a nice buildup that had Giselle Thompson involved, stretching the defense and feeding the play. Yeah, a very quick response. And Angel City has shown that ability to do things with the youngsters doing it and finding that chemistry with one another. Anytime a player is going to get their first goal, it's always a magnificent thing. And against a team as highly talented as Washington, that's a big one because, you look at their records up and down. Washington Spirit they extended their unbeaten run to 9 matches. They're a formidable opponent. And quite honestly, despite the fact that it was only a point for Angel City, I think it's a big statement because Spirit's a tough squad.
No, you're absolutely right. Both of you saying the same thing there with that result. Let me ask you,
we should just disagree with each other on purpose and throw in hot takes.
Tim, let me ask you though. We've talked over and over and over again on this show about Riley Tiernan, how dangerous she is, how she needs to step up now with Alyssa Thompson being gone. And sure enough, Angel City able to take the lead on an own goal, but it was because of a dangerous cross into the box by Riley Tiernan. Philly talked about the Evelyn Shores goal. That was their only shot on target, but they still found a way to put another into the back of the net. What we're seeing from Riley Tiernan, what we're seeing from Giselle Thompson, these players, these stars that are kind of stepping up to fill the void left by Alyssa Thompson, what does it mean for Angel City that they're able to score without getting another shot on target?
I think it's great, but I got to say something. I've never liked the own goal stat. I think the own goal stat is the dumbest thing ever. I think that Riley Tiernan made that play happen, and just because it ticks off the foot of somebody and goes into the back of the net, which was going to be a goal anyways because they had crashing offensive players for Angel City, I think it's Riley. Riley should absolutely celebrate that as her own goal. But to your question, I think it's great that they're coming together. We knew it would take a lot with Alex Strauss, and what Svendis Janstadter told us last week's show previously is that Alex Strauss's coaching style is exceedingly intricate. And so for them now to be putting all of this together and know where to go, know where the other players are going to be in this system, I think it's a good deal. And again, like we said, result is a result is a result. To get a point out of a Washington Spirit game, as Philly so eloquently mentioned, that they're on a 9-game unbeaten streak. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous to only get one shot on goal and yet pull out a draw at 2-2.
Yeah, unfortunately, the draw came because they squandered that lead, that 2-1 lead that they had off of the own goal. 71st minute goal by Croy Bethune, and it unfortunately left 2 points at BMO that I know Angel City wanted. So if we look at Angel City, they remain in 11th place, but they are now 4 points back of a playoff spot with just 5 matches to play. What I have to ask the both of you, and I'll start with Philly on this one, 3 of their last 5 are at home. They obviously still have 2 tough ones against the Current and the Thorns, but they played 9th place Houston Dash, 10th place Louisville, and the very last place team in the league, the Chicago Stars. How many points in these last 5 matches does Angel City need to accrue, Philly, to give them a chance to get into the playoffs?
I mean, they need as many points as they can accrue as possible. And look, when you welcome somebody like Louisville, yeah, I say that, obviously the easy answer, but I don't want to say it's slim pickings for them, despite the fact that they're in 11th. I mean, if you look at their goals for it, they score. I mean, they don't have a goal scorer that's really running away with it. Riley Tiernan, just below single digits, just below double digits, I should say. But if you look at their goals for, they're 5th in the NWSL, which they can score. The problem is they allow a bunch of goals. Now they're going to welcome in Louisville, who is a team that's gone on a bad little run as of late, lost their last 3 games, and a team that's not necessarily that good. Actually, they're better on the road than they are at home, but not by that much. So you look at all their teams, like if they could contain players like an Emma Sears, a Taylor Flint, winning at home is what's going to get it done, because Angel City, as we've seen from their road record, not very good at claiming 3 points on the road, only 2 wins. So with so many games at home, they have the opportunity to strike while the iron's hot. And while sitting in 11th place on the table doesn't look very good, you said it. They're at 24 points in position 11. If you go up to let's say San Diego, they're sitting on 31. There's not a really big disparity between the top part of the table and the lower part of the table, but they got to get it done. And there's no excuses at this point. If Alex Strauss wants to make that splashy impact, they got to win these games.
All right, Tim, one quick question. If they win their 3 home games, 9 points, is that enough to get them into the playoffs?
I think it is. I think if they get 9, I think they're in.
I like it. All right, if they can win those 3. Speaking of a club that needs to find a win sooner rather than later, Tim's boys down in Orange County Soccer Club, a 3-1 loss in San Antonio. And Tim, I want to ask you if it was weary road legs in just a second. Don't worry. But their defending was a little suspect in this one, right? You had Pacheco walking right to the top of the box before that shot for the first goal, suspect marking for that second goal where both players had pretty clear channels down the lane. Tim, was this a case of this is their 3rd match on the road in a row against some pretty tough competition, some pretty far road destinations as well towards the end of the season, though there still is plenty of time, 7 matches left? Mm-hmm. Or was this just a case of San Antonio with the right game plan making their defense look rough?
I think it's a little bit of both. And you point out the offensive plan for San Antonio. They knew how to attack Orange County. They knew where to go. There is a couple of suspect spots that Orange County has, because there's, all these teams have to deal with injuries. Orange County also has had a retirement middle of the season to a guy that was getting some playing time. But I think at the end of the day, you're a professional athlete, and I don't care if you're flying to San Francisco or flying to San Antonio or flying to Pittsburgh. You got to be up. You got to be ready for those games. And third game in a row over the past 15 days ish, while you've traveled across the country twice. Yes, there is some road weary legs, but San Antonio took advantage of it. They knew where to attack, and they buried their chances. There were some very good chances that Orange County had. They clank a post or two. The first goal is again, a little bit suspect, but it does clank in off the inside of the post where Orange County's clanked off the outside of the post. So you do have those types of things happening in this game, but San Antonio just took it to them and finished when they needed to finish.
Yeah, there was a beautiful banger of a goal by Nico Benalcázar to
goal of the week, back. Man.
And they were not, like you mentioned, kind of knocking on the door. A quality header that was saved right after that. But Philly, Orange County kind of gets their legs cut out from under them with this beautiful free kick goal by San Antonio. I mean, one of those that you just put on the highlight reel and chalk it up to putting it. Philly, what would be the call that you make when somebody puts it top shelf there in the MASL?
Upper right corner where my Uncle Franz keeps the good schnapps.
Yeah, that's where it was for sure. Philly, when you have a club on a comeback run like that, down just a goal, and then something like that happens, what does that do for the morale of your club? You're halfway across the country. You've played 3 road matches. What does that feel like?
I mean, it's a kick to the to the lower body extremities, just to use the injury report that LAFC would put up. It's deflating. I mean, there's nothing else you could say about that other than deflating. And then there were so many instances, though, not just that were deflating for Orange County. Look, they had so much more possession. They created a bunch of different opportunities. They had plenty of corners. They just couldn't convert anything. San Antonio was efficient on the counterattack. The officiating, you could also say, was rather suspect. I mean, wasn't Orange County denied a penalty despite what happened with that foul on Hagert? Look, there's so many things that came into play, but that right there, if you're watching vampire movies, that was a stake to the heart, and it just continues to add to the misery that is Orange County on the road. 2-8-3 on the road, and look, their last 5, I mean, they're starting to descend. 0-3-2. It's not great, but the good news is they get to go home. Bad news is they're playing a great Charleston team, but at least they're 6-2-2 in the champ.
Yeah, let me ask you, Tim, the Colin Schuttler injury really could have debilitated this club, but we saw a fantastic performance from Tetsuya Kadono. Can you talk about what it means to have him be able to fill in the way he's done? A great match for him in this one, despite the loss.
You could see the strong level of play that he brings to being the second string, as it were. But for him to come in, and now that he's playing every game going forward for at least the foreseeable future, there's still been nothing official out of Orange County yet. But the reality is that Ted has come in and playing strong. So I see a good, strong match this weekend against a very strong Charleston Battery team who is 3-1-1 in their last 5 and lighting the lamp, as it were. But I think the boys, with some good home cooking, some extra rest, and not having to fly 3,000 miles one way, I think this is going to be very strong in front of a raucous home crowd at the champ this weekend.
Yeah, I love it. He's staying lighting the lamp. He's hungry for some indoor soccer, baby, as am I.
And look, not too far to travel for their next one as well, just up north to Sacramento Republic. Now, Sacramento having a very good season, second in the West, 11 wins, just 5 losses on the season, and they don't give up goals at all. 19 goals allowed in 24 matches. So
one of them was to Orange County at the end of June in the 1-0 win for Orange County.
There you go. So, look, a lot to take away from their next couple of matches. If they can get a result against a very good Charleston team, carry that momentum in to Sacramento, it's going to be a good one. So we'll see how they fare this week with 2 matches on the docket. Let's bring back Ananda, and it is time for one of my favorite segments in all that we do. Of course, we are talking about Best 11, and we've got all 4 of us. We're going to talk, but let's go over who made the Best 11. Remember, this is the best players from all of the matches that were played last week. Goalkeeper Angelina Anderson for her match against Washington for Angel City. Nico Benalcázar, OCSC's match against San Antonio. Giselle Thompson's Angel City match against Washington. And Nkosi Tafari for LAFC's match against RSL on the back line. Midfielders Mark Delgado and David Martinez from LAFC against RSL. Diego Fagundes, who we talked about earlier, for Galaxy against Cincinnati. And Evelyn Shores, who scored the goal for Angel City against Washington in the midfield. And the forwards, no surprise here, Denis Bouanga and Son Heung-min from LAFC for their match against RSL. And a very good match despite the loss from Joseph Paintsel for the Galaxy against Cincinnati. So that's 5 players from LAFC, 3 from Angel City, 2 from Galaxy, and 1 from Orange County Soccer Club. I got to first, if I could have a quick second, it's really nice to see Nkosi Tafari on here because as Philly knows, on Defenders of the Bank, I have been riding Tafari hard, and I am very excited to see Nkosi Tafari on here because as we know, Gunnar puts this lineup together using some of the numbers from the metrics, not just on the back of the Topps card. So it's good to see him doing well. Let me ask first and foremost to Ananda. Ananda, Joseph Paintsel kind of leading the way for the offense this week for the Galaxy. How nice is it to see him as one of the forwards here on the best 11 this week?
Honestly, to break into the same list as Bouanga and Son with the tear that they've been on, I think that's already a win. And honestly, he doesn't score very many headed goals. So I think he should just be on the list despite even if he got a red card. I don't care. Just for scoring a headed goal, which is not his MO, he deserves to be on that list. Sorry, I'm biased. Sorry, not sorry.
No, don't be sorry, man. This is your time for sure.
Sorry, not sorry.
He gets the goal from Diego Fagundes, who's also on this list too. The old man and the new guy up top, which is kind of fun. Tim, we mentioned the banger by Nico Ben Alcazar, right? He's got to be on this list. My question is, while Angelina Anderson had a wonderful performance, does maybe Tetsuya Kadono belong on this best 11? What do you think?
Well, Nico's goal was the goal of the week, so he should be captain, in my opinion. But, you got to give it up to Denny for getting the Hattie and, an extra one on the game before. But I think pre-show we were talking about this. I think you give up 3 goals, even if you get several saves and play well. I don't think you can make the goalkeeper. I think you got to be kept off of the board because of the better play of Angelina Anderson, the better play of Hugo Lloris that's not even on here. I like Ted a lot, man, but sorry, dude, you don't make the list this week.
All right, we'll take it. And Philly, while we think Gunnar is hazing Ananda a little bit by putting Mark Delgado on this list, let me ask you, is it just something, Philly, where Gunnar's going to have to rinse and repeat Denis Bouanga and Son Heung-min up top for the next few weeks?
I mean, look, they've had 14 goals over the course of the last several games. Denis Bouanga breaks Carlos Vela's record, but he does something else. He breaks the amount of hat tricks that Carlos Vela has scored within his career. That's a big one. And in addition to that, I'm going to use a term very familiar to the folks down in Carson. Since 96, no team has gone on back-to-back-to-back games scoring hat tricks. And 2 out of those 3 were done by Denis Bouanga and, of course, by Son. This attack is the most formidable attack in MLS as of right now. The goals are coming in by the troves. Denis Bouanga is right around the corner from 100 goals. He was tied with Messi prior to that Wednesday game against NYCFC, but how could you not put Denis and Son on there with the streak they've been having? It's been incredible. Denis on the verge of hitting 100 goals. And oh, by the way, for the Toronto Out haters, he's 1 win away from 100. So boom. Take that, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Look, it's the fastest paced soccer show for a reason. As quick as we got in, we got to get out. Don't forget, subscribe to this on YouTube. Hit that like button, whatever you got to do. This has been Soccer in 60, brought to you by SAC Health System. We'll see you